Amen. Amen. Okay. So, brothers and sisters, we've connected, we brought out wisdom and showed that it's an ability or is it a person? Go back and watch the video. And then we brought out understanding to show if it's an ability or a person. Go back and watch the video. Long story short, cut to the chase is both. You need both. Then how to get it, all that is in the other videos. So in this one, we're going to deal with the word Revelations 18:13, Revelations 13:18. 13:18, we're dealing with the number count. So it says, here is wisdom. We did that. Let him that hath understanding, we did that. Count the number of the beast. That's where we're at right now. In this video, we want to mostly focus on that word count. So Brother Kenny and I are going to bring out things about counting, because what the problem is, you want to say it, Brother Kenny, you want me to go ahead and say it?
Yes, what the problem is, a lot of people read that word and unfortunately misuse it in the context that it's supposed to be in.
Not a misuse, but miscalculate,
Yeah,
where they think it's a mathematical equation.
yes.
Continue on.
As opposed to what it's really saying. We're going to read the scriptures and show it out and show it to you all, and give the proper context of how to use the word count in this verse.
We're going to prove to you that it's not just us, but it's scholars and other ones who know and come across, wait a minute, this isn't a mathematical count. Let's think about this, brothers and sisters. You have the number 666. It's okay, count the number. Say, that's the number of the beast. Go ahead and count. Go ahead and count. That's like somebody giving you the number 1 and saying, go ahead and count the number 1. The only thing you can do with that as a mathematical equation is say the same thing right back. You give me the number 1, I say 1. But there's nothing to add to it or take away from it. You're not told what to do with it. You're not told whether to divide it or anything. You're just told the number of the beast is 666. Brother Kenny?
Yes, as Brother Eric was saying, we're just told to count. There's no mathematical equation here within this verse. Like the brother said, if you're given the number 1, you just have the number 1. There's no mathematical equation that you can do with a number by itself. A mathematical equation is two numbers, two numbers or more, or 3 equations or variables or more. We have one variable within this verse, which is 666. It said count the number of the beast. It's the number of the man. His number is 666.
So this is what we're going to do. We're going to start off using the NLT to prove what we just told you. And when we figure this thing out on how to count with not using a mathematical equation, I'll give you the other example afterwards. When we figure this out, we're going to use that method of not using the mathematical equations 1 and 1 is 2. We're going to use another method, and we're going to see what happens. Right. So for now, let's see what the New Living Translation says. And of course, Brother Kenny's going to put up the New Living Translation. We're going to write down here the NLT. The NLT on a finger. Go ahead.
Right. I have both of them side by sides for those who read out of the King James, but we're using the New Living Translation, like Brother Eric said, for our example. I'm going to highlight it. Right. New Living Translation reads, Revelations 13:18. Wisdom is needed here. Let the one with understanding solve the meaning of the number of the beast.
Can you blow that up a little more, bring it a little closer to the screen?
Yes.
For all us blind people. Okay.
Is that better, brother?
Amen. Whole lot better.
for is the number of a man. His number is 666. So we
Now, go ahead.
So we see the verse telling us to solve the meaning. It didn't say solve the equation, solve this arithmetic, this this
The
math
mathematical
problem.
equation,
Yes.
the math problem.
Nope. It's saying solve the
It
meaning.
just says solve the meaning.
Yes.
And solve the meaning of what?
This is not us saying this, like Brother Eric mentioned. These are scholars who are, we could say pretty well versed.
Going from as far back as they can go, we'll put it that way.
Yes.
Into translating it into modern day English.
Mm-hmm.
It's saying solve the meaning of. Don't let that go by.
Mm-hmm.
Solve the meaning of what? Of the number of the beast. Now, the King James has something that the New Living Translation doesn't have, and that's a colon.
I could bring that up as well.
Okay. We're not going to go into it in this video, but it says count the number of the beast, then there's a colon.
Mm-hmm.
And the colon is going to explain to you what you're going to need in order to understand the number of the beast. Because if not, without the colon, you're looking at the number of the beast, and then you're trying to figure out and trying to count the number of the beast, because that's what it says. But it says count the number of the beast, colon. In other words, the colon is saying to you, this is what you're going to do in order to solve this. This is what you're going to do in order to figure this out. Colon, and then explain from there. But right now, we need to understand what it means to count. So what does it mean to count? According to the New Living Translation, it means to solve the meaning of the number of the beast. Now, what else would count? Now we're out of the New Living Translation. We're back to the King James. Yep. So what else is the number? What else is the meaning of count? The meaning of count is like saying, Johnny, you going to the store? Or Brother Kenny, you going to the store?
Count me in.
Count me in. I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean a mathematical equation.
Nope.
It does not mean that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're going to do this in our 666 equals Christ videos, and we're going to count the way it tells us to do it, and we'll see what we come up with.
Right.
Amen. Now, on count, another thing is from the Strongs.
Yes.
Count means what?
So according to the Strong's Concordance, which is a book that we use to bring more definition from the transliteration from the King James.
And we're using this model, if you can see that. And that is the ISBN number, if you can see that. And as we go forward. So you're looking up in there, and what does it say?
So I looked it up online. We'll add the ISBN number in the comments, but getting straight to the point, the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance says to count up, calculate from phos to use pebbles in enumeration.
Highlight it, blow it up.
Yep. Right here. Oh.
Good enough. Highlight what you're using.
Yep. To count up, calculate. From phos to use pebbles in numeration. Example, generally to compute, count.
So now it's saying to compute something. When you compute, what do? You think.
Use your mind.
Using pebbles. Why using pebbles? To keep up so you don't slip. You're using an object or an objective. And
Mhm.
one could say, well, brother, come on, that means count 1 and 1. We're giving one number.
Exactly.
So
Once
it
again.
can't be 1 plus 1.
Mhm.
It can't be that count.
Nope.
That's why a lot of you all are coming up with the number, oh, the devil and the Antichrist, the devil. There is not the Antichrist. There is nowhere in the book of Revelations where it mentions the Antichrist. Let's understand that right now. Nowhere in the book of Revelations where it uses the term Antichrist. I don't know why people, well, I understand why people keep doing that, but that's not what the Bible wants you to understand. The Bible doesn't want you to see Antichrist. It wants you to see something else. We'll deal with that when we come across it. But it does not want you to see Antichrist, because if you see Antichrist, you're going to be looking for an individual person. And you say, oh, there he is. There he is right there. I knew I'd spot him. We'll talk. We'll talk real talk. Back to the point. Calculation, not mathematical calculation.
Mhm.
Enumeration, compute, to think. Let's go further in this.
Yeah.
When you use a Strong's Concordance, it gives you a number at the bottom of the Strong's. We'll show this in another video, in the Thayer's, which is this book. And in this book, there we go. In that book, it's going to give you the Thayer's will give you a page number. In that book, you go to the page, and then the Thayer's will also, with the page, will give you section A, section B, section, and you'll go to that section. So with that, we're going to the Thayer's, which is online.
Here we are.
Okay, you're going to highlight it.
Yep.
Now, the Thayer's goes specifically to that word. So in the Strong's, you'll get a list of words. And then it's like, pick one. Each word belongs to a specific verse in the Bible, a specific word in the Bible. So the Thayer's is what you need that for. So, for example, when we looked up counting with pebbles to compute, just this part, brother. Just this part.
Oh, yep, sorry.
Just that's right. When you look at this, this is according to Luke, but then you have reckon in there with it amongst those words. So we know that all these that we're looking at have to do with Luke 14:28. Reckon is a very powerful word. We'll tell you why in a minute. But look what it says for Revelations. This is for Revelations 13:18 only as of the word count. It says to explain by computing. One says, oh, computing, addition. Look at what it says after that. Skip these words you're not familiar with and get to the words which is commonly. Commonly, and indeed chiefly, mostly, in the middle, in the Greek writings, to give one's vote by casting a pebble into the urn. That is not mathematical 1 + 1 is 2. That's count me in. Notice what it says now. To decide by voting. What is voting? Voting is when everybody gets together and they put their hand up to what their individual thought is, and that goes as a collective, and then everybody goes with the majority who have their hands up for this reason or that reason. That's not math. That's logic.
Yep.
That's logic. to count me in. Then it gives Greek comparisons for those of y'all who are into the Greek. But those of y'all who not, just the point where it's not a mathematical yeah, thank you. So after all this, now we're going to mention when you look up the word in the Greek, you can take this down now, brother. When you look up the word in the Greek, you can take this down up. There we go. So when you look the word up in the Greek, you can take down, you can look down the line of everywhere to count in the New Testament where it's used. And if you look in the Strongs, those of you all who know how to use the Strongs, you'll see different numbers for counting. The majority of it, when you read it, it's not like count this 1 and 1 and 2. 1 and 1 is 2. But what it is count me in. Don't leave me out. The vote. It means to count. It does not mean count, calculate. It means count like I'm in it with you.
Include me.
Logically. Logically. What you saying, brother?
No, I said include me with you.
Include me with you. Now, even though we're saying include me with you, there's a word that we saw in there, which is reckon. What does reckon mean?
You could bring that up. We'll show the Merriam-Webster's dictionary definition.
Merriam-Webster's dictionary definition for the word reckon, because reckon is also included in the Greek Strongs on the word count. When you're ready, go ahead and highlight it.
Okay. So we have definition 1.
Highlight only one. Let them think a little bit at a time. Don't overwhelm them.
1A, count. Reckon the days till Christmas.
Reckon the days till Christmas? That's not necessarily a mathematical equation. Just sum it up until Christmas comes. And those of you who understand Christmas, please, we don't want to get into that right now. We want people to focus. So we're not going to come out, Christmas. So reckon the days till Christmas. Go ahead, give me another one.
Okay. 1B, estimate and compute. Reckon the height of a building.
So we're estimating. Give me another one.
Okay. 1C, to determine by reference to a fixed basis. Example, the existence of the U.S. is reckoned from the Declaration of Independence.
Okay, so understand these. Most people down south in the United States heard the term reckon. Usually people in the north don't hear it. But reckon means to figure out. It means to guesstimate, to think. It does not mean 1 and 1 is 2. If you're going to do 1 and 1 is 2, you'll never understand what the mark of the beast. You'll come to some conclusion where somebody will say, oh, it's this person. And you didn't do it the way that you were instructed to out of Revelations 13:18. Do we have anything else?
Yes, we have definition 2. To regard or think of as consider.
Consider. Reckon means to consider. Any more?
Definition 3, chiefly dialectical, to think, suppose.
Keep going. To suppose, to think is a good one. Keep going.
Then we have intransient verbs, to settle accounts, to make a calculation.
Let's get that.
Okay.
To make a calculation does not mean 1 and 1 is 2. But reckon is used in mathematical equations. But usually they'll use another word for it. Reckon isn't the primary word used for a mathematical equation. So let's be careful with that. Because we're not given anything. You have to have 1 and 1. We're only given 666. Keep going.
Definition 3A, to judge.
The judge supposed to think in order. You don't want a judge that's drunk.
Mhm.
You don't want a judge that's high on drugs. Why? Because it's going to affect the way that he makes a decision on your case.
Mhm.
Okay. Any more?
3B, chiefly dialectical, suppose, think.
To suppose one. Here we go again.
Mhm.
Means to think.
Yep.
Use your reasoning.
Mhm.
Figure it out.
Yep.
NLT. 2, what was it again?
I can pull it right up. To solve the meaning, to solve the meaning.
To solve the meaning.
Mhm.
To solve the meaning. You can't solve anything if you're not thinking.
Yep.
Let's go. Okay, so we can scratch that. We're finished. Moving
Okay.
right along. So, brothers and sisters, we're going to conclude together that count means to think or to figure it out, or as it says in NLT, to solve the meaning.
Mhm.
So let's solve the meaning, shall we? Not in this video. We're going to solve it though. But count means to solve the meaning.
Mhm.
And we're solving the meaning of what? The number of the beast. So our next video is going to be focused on the number of the beast. That's going to be a fun one.
Amen.
With that, we'll conclude. Thank
Amen.
you. And shalom
Shalom.
to those who understand that. If you don't, well, then have a nice day or night, whatever it is. Let us go.